Let me ask you something before we begin. What if the reason you haven't found what you're looking for isn't because it's missing, but because you walked away from it a long time ago? Most people don't lose wealth. They lose sight, and they lose it quietly. Not in a dramatic moment, not in a single bad decision, but slowly, while chasing something they were told would save them. Stay with me here because this story is not about gold, it's about you. And if you listen carefully, you may realize you've lived part of it already. Part 1. The farmer who dreamed of gold. And the question that changes everything. There's an old story that has traveled across centuries, cultures, and languages. It appears in different forms: Persian, Indian, Middle Eastern. Each version slightly different, but the core never changes. A man dreams of treasure, not a vague dream, not a passing thought, a dream so vivid it rearranges his life. He sees gold buried somewhere far away, a place he's never been, a place whispered to him by something deep inside. And from that moment on, nothing around him feels enough anymore. Now pause, because this is where most people recognize themselves. That moment when what you have stops feeling valuable, not because it is worthless, but because your attention has moved elsewhere. The farmer looks at his land that has fed him, sustained him, held his life together, and suddenly it feels small, ordinary, limited. So he does what millions of people do every day. He leaves, he sells what he owns, he walks away from familiarity, he crosses deserts, cities, borders. He works harder than he ever did before. And here's the part no one talks about. He suffers for the dream. Long nights, empty hands, false leads. But because suffering feels like progress, he keeps going. Does that sound familiar? Because in our modern world, we worship effort. We glorify exhaustion. We confuse movement with meaning. We believe that if we're tired, we must be close. Let me say something gently but clearly. Effort does not create wealth. Alignment does. Effort without clarity drains you. Effort without inner order sends you in circles. And this farmer, like so many people today, is burning his life force chasing a symbol. Gold was never the lesson. Awareness was. Eventually, after years of searching, the farmer collapses. Not dramatically, not heroically, just quietly. He's exhausted his body, his hope, and his belief. And this is the moment most people miss. Because the miracle doesn't happen when he's striving. It happens when he stops. He rests near a stranger's home. They talk, casually. No wisdom sermon, no prophecy, just conversation. And during that conversation, the stranger mentions a dream about gold, buried beneath the land of a farmer who lived far away, a farmer who abandoned his land chasing something else. And suddenly everything freezes, the room goes quiet, time folds inward, because the man realizes something devastating and liberating at the same time. He was standing on his treasure all along. Now listen carefully. This story survived for centuries not because it's poetic, but because it's accurate. People keep leaving the source to search for the symbol. They abandon inner stability to chase external validation. They disconnect from presence to pursue projections, and then they wonder why nothing feels enough. Here's the psychological truth modern science now confirms. Your subconscious mind does not reward effort. It responds to coherence. When your inner world is fragmented, your outer world reflects fragmentation. Money comes. Money goes, opportunities appear, opportunities vanish. Not because life is cruel, but because your internal system is unstable. If this is already resonating, pause for a moment. And if you feel something shifting, even slightly, this is a good moment to subscribe. Not out of obligation, but because the rest of this journey builds on what you're feeling right now, and I'd like you to stay. Because the real question is not, why didn't the farmer find gold sooner? The real question is, why do we only look inward after we're exhausted? In the next part, we'll explore why the mind convinces us that what we're looking for must be far away, and how this single illusion quietly shapes our relationship with money, success, and self-worth. And by the end of this video, I want you to see something clearly. You were never behind. You were never late. You were simply looking in the wrong direction. We'll continue in part 2, and trust me, this is where the story becomes personal. Part 2. Why the mind sends us away from what we're looking for. If you think about it, the most dangerous thing about the farmer's story is not that he left his land. It's why he left. He didn't leave because he was starving. He didn't leave because his land failed him. He left because a picture formed in his mind. And once that picture took hold, nothing else could compete with it. This is how the subconscious works. Not logically, not rationally, but visually, emotionally, symbolically. Your mind doesn't chase reality, it chases images, and once an image feels powerful enough, it begins to rewrite your sense of value. What was once meaningful starts to feel dull. What was once enough starts to feel incomplete. Not because it changed, but because you stopped seeing it. This is where most people misunderstand motivation. They believe motivation is desire, but desire is neutral. Motivation is desire plus displacement. It's the moment the mind whispers, "Not here, somewhere else." And suddenly, your attention migrates. Think about how this shows up today. Someone scrolling late at night watching other people's success stories, other people's lifestyles, other people's highlights. Without realizing it, the mind starts comparing. And comparison quietly says, what you have is not enough. Not aggressively, not loudly, just enough to make you restless. The farmer didn't leave because of gold. He left because of restlessness. The same restlessness that makes people change careers every few years, move cities, hoping it will fix something, jump from strategy to strategy, or chase money without ever feeling secure. The search becomes the identity. Here's the psychological truth that rarely gets discussed. The mind loves distance. Distance gives hope. When something is far away, it stays perfect, unexamined, untested. But when something is close, it becomes ordinary, and the subconscious prefers longing over presence because longing keeps the story alive. This is why so many people believe success is out there, a new job, a new country, a new strategy, a new system. And sometimes those changes help. But notice this, the same patterns keep following them because the pattern was never external, it was internal. Let me say this carefully. When the subconscious is unsettled, it will always invent a destination, and that destination will feel sacred, urgent, necessary, even if it costs you your peace. Ancient teachers noticed this long before modern psychology. They warned that a scattered mind cannot recognize abundance even when standing on it, because recognition requires stillness, and stillness feels uncomfortable to a mind trained on movement. The farmer didn't lack opportunity, he lacked awareness. And awareness doesn't come from searching, it comes from pausing long enough to notice what you've been stepping on every day. If this resonates with you, pause the video for a second. Ask yourself quietly, what am I convinced is somewhere else right now? And what might I be overlooking because of that belief? You don't need to answer it yet. Just notice the question. This is a good moment to comment if something is clicking for you. Not for engagement, but because naming insight anchors it. And when insight is anchored, it begins to reorganize the mind. Now here's where the story deepens. Because the farmer's journey wasn't a mistake, it was a necessary detour. Sometimes the subconscious sends us away so we can return with new eyes. In the next part, we're going to explore why effort alone never creates lasting wealth and how the mind mistakes exhaustion for progress. This is where many people get trapped for decades. And once you see it, you'll never relate to money, work, or success the same way again. Let's continue in part 3. Part 3. When effort becomes the illusion. There is a belief so deeply embedded in modern life that most people never question it. If you work harder, you will be rewarded. It sounds noble, it sounds fair, and it sounds comforting. But it is incomplete, because effort without direction doesn't build wealth. It builds fatigue, and fatigue clouds perception. This is where the farmer's story becomes uncomfortable, because the farther he traveled, the more convincing his effort felt. Every mile justified the next mile. Every sacrifice made turning back feel foolish. This is how the subconscious locks people into patterns. Once you've invested enough energy, the mind resists re-evaluation, not because the path is right, but because abandoning it would threaten identity. Modern psychology calls this escalation of commitment. Ancient wisdom simply called it blindness. When effort replaces awareness, movement becomes a trap. Look around, you can see this everywhere. People working longer hours yet feeling poorer. People chasing promotions while losing peace. People accumulating income but never feeling secure. Because wealth is not stored in numbers alone. It's stored in nervous system stability. A calm mind sees opportunity, an anxious mind overlooks it. Here's something rarely said out loud. The subconscious mind does not respond to force, it responds to familiarity. If struggle feels familiar, it will recreate struggle, even if success is available. The farmer worked harder than ever before, but his inner world remained unchanged. So his outer world reflected the same pattern. Different locations, same confusion. This is why effort often feels heroic but delivers little. Because effort alone doesn't change belief, and belief is the real currency. Think about how this shows up financially. Someone earns more money but increases stress at the same rate. Someone improves income but never experiences ease. Someone achieves success but feels unsafe without constant motion. Because the subconscious learned one lesson early. Rest is dangerous. Stillness is risky. Ease must be earned through pain. That belief becomes the invisible governor of wealth. No matter how much comes in, it flows back out. Not through bad luck, through unconscious behavior. Ancient traditions understood this deeply. They didn't chase wealth directly. They stabilized the inner environment first. Order, rhythm, boundaries, rest. These weren't spiritual luxuries, they were economic foundations. The farmer believed gold required distance, but distance was the illusion. Gold didn't respond to travel, it responded to recognition. Let me ask you something quietly. How much of your effort right now is driven by fear rather than clarity? How much of your movement is fueled by restlessness instead of purpose? You don't need to judge it, just observe it. Observation dissolves illusion faster than force ever could. If this perspective feels grounding, this is a good moment to share the video, not because it's impressive, but because it may reach someone who's exhausted and doesn't yet know why. Now here's the turning point. The farmer's journey didn't end in failure, it ended in recognition, and recognition only happens when the mind finally relaxes its grip. In the next part, we'll explore the return. Why coming back, not going forward, is often the moment wealth stabilizes, and how the subconscious begins to reorganize reality once awareness replaces effort. This is where the miracle quietly happens. Let's continue with part 4. Part 4. The return, where wealth was waiting all along. There is a moment in every long journey when moving forward no longer makes sense, not because you failed, but because something inside you has finally softened. This is the moment the farmer returns, not in triumph, not in defeat, but in stillness. He walks back to the land he once abandoned, and notice something important. The land hasn't changed. The soil is the same. The air smells familiar. The ground feels steady beneath his feet. What has changed is him. This is the part of the story that never gets enough attention, because the miracle doesn't happen when he arrives home. It happens when he sees home differently. Awareness has replaced hunger, presence has replaced urgency, and suddenly the ordinary reveals its depth. Here's a truth that feels simple but carries enormous weight. Wealth does not reveal itself to a restless mind. It reveals itself to a settled one. The farmer begins to notice things he never noticed before, patterns in the land, subtle differences in the soil, areas that feel heavier, richer, more alive. These signs were always there, but a distracted mind cannot read subtlety. This is exactly how wealth works in real life. Opportunities rarely announce themselves loudly. They whisper. They appear as small insights, unexpected connections, quiet instincts, and they are invisible to a nervous system trained only on urgency. Modern neuroscience confirms what ancient wisdom always knew. A calm nervous system has access to higher perception. It sees patterns, it senses timing, it recognizes value where others overlook it. The farmer digs. Not frantically, not desperately, but deliberately. And beneath the surface, he finds it, not just gold, but confirmation that the source was never elsewhere. Now listen carefully, because this applies directly to you. Your wealth is not separate from your awareness. Your stability is not separate from your perception. When your inner world becomes grounded, the outer world reorganizes itself naturally. This is why people who appear lucky often describe success as something that unfolded, not something they forced. They didn't stop working, they stopped fighting. If you feel a sense of relief hearing this, pause for a moment. That relief is not resignation, it's alignment. And alignment is the doorway through which wealth enters without resistance. This is also why ancient teachings emphasized return to breath, return to rhythm, return to order. Not because the world is dangerous, but because clarity lives at home. The farmer didn't become rich because he traveled. He became rich because he came back with awareness. If this is resonating, this is a good moment to subscribe. Not for more promises, but for more reminders of what you already know deep down. In the final part, we'll bring this together. We'll talk about how to live from this awareness daily without abandoning ambition, without rejecting success, and without falling back into restlessness. This is where wealth becomes stable. Let's move into part 5. Part 5. The quiet miracle that changes everything. There's a kind of wealth that arrives loudly. It announces itself, demands attention, requires constant defense. And then there is another kind, a quieter kind, the kind that stays. The farmer didn't become wealthy the moment he found gold. He became wealthy the moment his relationship with life changed. Because wealth is not what you uncover. It's what you're able to hold without fear. This is the final lesson hidden inside the story. Money doesn't stay where tension lives. It doesn't settle into chaos. It doesn't remain where the nervous system is always bracing for loss. Wealth looks for steadiness. This is why some people earn more and still feel poor, and others earn less but feel secure, creative, and free, because the subconscious is not measuring numbers, it's measuring safety. When your inner world feels ordered, money stops behaving like a stranger. It becomes a rhythm. Coming, circulating, returning. Notice how different this is from what most people are taught. They're told to chase, to push, to outwork. But no one teaches them how to receive. No one teaches them how to remain calm when things go well. No one teaches them how to trust continuity. The farmer's gold didn't change him. Awareness did. And awareness does something remarkable. It removes urgency. And urgency is the greatest enemy of wealth. This doesn't mean you stop acting. It means action becomes clean, intentional, aligned. You still move, but you're no longer running away from something. If you've been listening closely, you may notice something subtle happening. A softening. A sense that nothing is missing. That sense is not complacency. It's readiness. Ancient traditions called this state right relationship. Right relationship with effort. Right relationship with rest. Right relationship with value. From this state, wealth stops being a struggle and starts being a response. Let me leave you with this. You don't need to abandon ambition. You don't need to reject money. You don't need to renounce the world. You simply need to stop searching for what has been under your feet all along. If this journey resonated with you, take a moment to like this video. It helps this message reach people who are tired of chasing and ready to return. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so, not for motivation, but for clarity. And before you go, I'd like to hear from you. What part of this story felt most personal? Leave a comment. Sometimes naming insight is the final step that allows it to settle. Thank you for being here, and remember this quietly. What is meant for you does not require exhaustion. It requires awareness, and awareness is already within reach.